years, Miss Melanie Mitro.
I thought you had to give me like a different intro. Tell them something they don't know about me. He didn't. All right, are you guys awake? It's after lunch. Bellies are full. I know I'm ready for a nap. All right, so time management. Yeah, a ton of you have stopped me, and in our conversations last night at the welcome reception and today in the hallway, it was, how do you do it with your kids? How do you manage your time? And so the one thing, I'm going to share with you a lot of the things that I do to manage my time, but the big thing is you can either let the day roll you, or you can choose to roll the day. You are the pilot of your own airplane, and you have to take control of yourself. This business, there are vital behaviors that we have to do in order to be successful, and then there are the nice to haves, the things that fill time, and for us to be successful, we constantly have to be asking ourselves, what are the most important things that we need to do to move our business forward? So I'm going to start out by giving you a little bit of my history. So this is actually a picture of me and my husband and my son. This was right before I started coaching. So I want to share that with you because I want you to know that when I walked into the doors of the Team Beachbody world, I was a customer. I was a challenger in a challenge group, and I had lost 10 pounds. Of the 30 total that I lost during my transformation, my coach saw something in me, and she said, I know you would be great at this. And so she invited me to the business. And after inviting, I finally said yes. So when I started my business, I was not at my goal weight. I was still very much so learning how to change my nutrition. I had a 6-month-old, I had a 2.5-year-old, and 2 boys. And those of you that have children know that young, life is chaotic. So I wasn't sleeping a lot at night because they were still waking up through the night. Stay-at-home mom, I had quit my job. So we had one income, and Matt worked very long hours, so he was gone from 6 o'clock, home at 6:37 at night, and he traveled. So, is that like many of you? You're the housekeeper, you do the laundry, you do the cooking, you're taxi driver, you are everything, and that was me. So I'm exhausted. We all have the same 24 hours in the day. It's how we choose to arrange those 24 hours that actually determine our success and our productivity. So, me being the newbie and not knowing anything about Beachbody and the business and having to learn it all from ground zero, I started just sort of looking at my day and saying, how do I make this business work? And the first thing that I did was I would work out in the afternoon. So my workout time was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd put the boys down for a nap. I would go down to the basement with the baby monitor, and I would do Insanity. And what I found was I started to find myself saying, but I really want to watch this YouTube video. I really want to do this training. And I started to say to myself, well, maybe I'll just skip my workout today. But the most important thing is that your body is your business. Being a product of the product is part of the job description. And so as much as I wanted to skip my workout, I would say to myself, if I don't do my workout, how am I going to prove to other people that this works? And so that was one of the very first things I did. And so what I did was I said, well, I need this afternoon time to build my business, so I think I'm going to get up earlier. And I made fun of all the people in the challenge group that got up at 5 a.m. I was like, there is no way I can do that. No way. But I wanted to build my business. I wanted to have that success more than I wanted to fail, so I was willing to make a sacrifice. And so there I was, 5 a.m. in the morning, doing my workout. And the very first personal development book that I read was The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And something in that book stuck out to me. And it said, you are willing to do what other people are not willing to do now, so you can have what other people wish they could have 3 years from now. And that stuck with me. So every decision I made, when that alarm went off, I would repeat that to myself. I'm willing to do what other people are not willing to do. I'm willing to get out of bed. I know it's warm and cozy, but just go. It'll pay off, right? Say no to certain things that I wanted to do. I will delay that instant gratification so I can have long-term success. And this is where it started. This is where it started for me. The next thing that I started to do was I started to look at my day. Now, free for all, I'm home with my kids all day. Nobody's in school. We could stay in our pajamas all day long and nobody would care, right? And I know many coaches who they have no sort of organization to their day. And what I found myself doing was I had that tightness in my chest all the time. Oh my gosh, when am I going to check in? Oh my gosh, when am I going to respond to these messages? Well, the kids just watched another 30-minute show so that I can answer these messages. And, right? I had no schedule, and I found myself just overwhelmed with anxiety all the time. All the time. And I know many of you in this audience feel like that right now. So I started establishing business hours. So even though I didn't have to, I just started setting aside times of the day that I was going to do certain business activities. And so that really helped me a lot with saying, okay, even though I don't have to, when I get up from 5 to 6, I'm going to do this, and from 6 to 7, I'm going to do that. We're going to get into that in just a minute. The next thing I did was I set boundaries because I was always on my phone. I would get into the car and I'm texting. We're sitting at the dinner table and my phone is dinging. We're watching TV and I'm answering messages. And my husband started to resent me. He started to resent the amount of time that I was investing in my business and not our relationship. And so that caused a huge issue with the two of us. And so I had to learn how to create buckets for my personal life and my business and my kids and all the priorities for myself. And that's something that you can easily do is just sit down and list out what are your top 3 priorities or 4 priorities in life. If Beachbody went away, or if you're not a Beachbody, if your family said you have to choose between me and the business, right? We would choose our family. But we can have both. We just have to manage it effectively. And you have to remember every day when you're working your business, am I moving my business forward? Am I focused on the tasks that are going to bring me success, or am I wasting time? And there are a lot of us that spend time doing things in our business that are not moving you forward. And so some of those things are just this: mindless Facebook scrolling. So I would get up early. I would do my workout as fast as I can. I sit down at the computer because I never know when somebody's going to wake up. So I'm typing as fast as I can. But what do? I would get onto Facebook and I would just scroll. I said, well, I need some inspiration for the day. Let me see what the top coaches are up to. And let me see what this person over here is doing. I need a good post idea. 20 minutes would go by, and then pitter-patter down the steps, somebody's awake. I did no inviting, and I was wasting my time. The next thing is hitting the snooze button. I can hit the snooze button for 2 hours and be okay. But I knew that wasn't going to move my business forward. So I put the alarm clock on my dresser on the other side of the room. When the alarm clock would go off, I would repeat to myself over and over, I'm up, I'm up, I'm up. I will delay instant gratification for long-term success. I will do what other people will not do so that I can have what they wish they could have, 3 years from now. And over I go, shut off the alarm, and down to the basement to work out. But I trained myself. With that mental mindset shift to be successful. And I just did it because I did not want to fail. I wanted to prove people wrong. The next thing is distractions. So I had a coach that stayed at my house for a couple of days over Christmas, and we're working at the kitchen table. She's got her laptop and her cell phone. I've got my laptop and my cell phone, and her phone's going bleep, and then it goes bzz, and then her computer's dinging, and I'm over here, and she's like on her phone, then she's on her computer, then she's on her phone, then she's listening to a Voxer message. And I'm thinking to myself, holy cow, we are so connected all the time. We can never focus on one task at hand because we're so distracted. And very early on, I started doing all of these things. So I actually turned off the chat bar on Facebook. So it never says that I'm online, even though I'm probably online 90% of the time, but that little window does not pop up anymore. So when I'm working on a message or a Facebook post, it just goes into my messages and it doesn't interrupt me. I turn it off. It's on silent so it doesn't ding. When it is time for my power hour, I am literally, my phone is turned over so I can't see the light flashing. It's on silent, and I am focused on my task at hand. If my mom calls, if a coach calls, and it is my personal business time, I don't answer. I will return that call after that power hour, 1 hour, 45 minutes of focused time is done. That way, I am being productive with my time. The next thing that I do is, here we go, another calendar. And I saw somebody post in the NLC group about wanting my calendar from this morning, and I'll put that in there this afternoon. I'll give you guys the screenshot, and I'll do the same thing with this too. But this is what I do. Every week I sit down, and I sit down with I use Google Calendar, and many of you can use paper and pencil, whatever works, but I sort of make a list of what are the things that I need to do for next week. So you need to get Success Club points. Have you hit Success Club? Do you need to recruit coaches? Do you need to write a blog post? And so I just have a sheet of notebook paper, and I just write everything that's on my mind. I do this on Sunday mornings. It's usually my rest day, so I'll get up, and this is my planning time. I still get up at 5 a.m., even if it's my rest day, because I can get in 3 extra hours of work before the kids get up in the morning. So that's just a little sidebar, is if you think about your business like that, you take all these little extra nuggets of time that you have. So if you have 2 rest days, you have 2 days where you have 3 extra hours before the kids get out of bed. That's 6 hours a week, every single week for an entire year. That could be the difference between being an elite coach or top 10 and not, right? So you're playing that game where you're trying to get ahead. So that's sort of how I look at every free second, what can I do? All right, so anyways, I brainstorm my master to-do list, and then I start to put it on the calendar. I look at my calendar, I look at my week, and I plug in my workouts. 5 a.m. every single day, I know what workout I'm doing. Then I plug in the kids' activities, soccer practice, or doctor's appointments, or therapy sessions, right? I plug in anything that I've got to do for the week for Matt and I, whatever, and I plug in our date nights. Unfortunately, I schedule in my time with Matt, right? So, because for me, I have to prepare myself to say, I won't be plugged in on Thursday night. This is downtime. Because if I schedule it, I'll stick to it. And then every day, I look at my calendar, and when 4:45 hits, an alarm goes off on my phone. And if I'm sitting at the computer, it tells me it's family time. And from 4:45 to 8:45, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, that is family time. My phone goes on silent, it goes in a drawer, and I don't answer messages very, very rarely during that time unless, the kids aren't home and I'm home by myself. But I have scheduled out family time so that they know that they are important. There is no phone at the dinner table, that when it's homework time and I'm working with them, my phone is not sitting there. I'm not looking at my phone while they're trying to do their homework. 100% of my attention is on them. When it's time with my spouse, I am 100% phone away, and we are spending time together because I want them to know they're important. But when it's business time, it's go time. And I'm not doing laundry, I'm not doing something else, I am 100% focused on what I need to do to build my business. And I block out all of those times within my day. And then I have a planning session with Matt, and usually it's just kind of like, hey babe, this is what's going on this week, right, in passing. But I will say to him, hey, this week, I have to do a team call, and I have a coach that works full time, so I'm gonna need to do a one-on-one in the evening this week, so I just wanna let you know ahead of time. Because what used to happen is he would walk through the door, and I would just shove the kids at him, and I'd say, see ya, I gotta go do a call. And he was angry because he had worked all day long, he was exhausted, and I wasn't communicating to him what I needed from him. And so once we got on the same page where we both had the same calendar, life went so much better for the two of us. So that communication is key. They're not gonna read your mind, you're not gonna read theirs, you've gotta be able to communicate what your goals are and what it's gonna take to get there. So once I've done my planning session, it's go time. Monday morning happens, there's no snoozing, right? We create this master plan. I know you guys are gonna go home and you're all gonna make yourself a schedule and you're gonna get your time management under control, but are you gonna implement it? Are you gonna do it? On Monday morning, think of me. Do not be a collector of information. I want you to do this. don't hit the snooze. If you are somebody that works full-time or has kids or needs to be very structured, I get up, I run to the basement and I do my workout, take my selfie, I run to the computer. When I open that computer, I know what I need to do because I've already thought about it the night before, right? So I don't scroll through the messages anymore. That is my reward. If I can get through my power hour or my 3 things on my to-do list really fast, then I'll let myself sit there and just scroll. So when I sit down, it's 3 vitals. First and foremost, check into my challenge groups. Then it's answer messages. And I actually prioritize them. It's new customers, new coaches, then current customers, current coaches, family and friends go to the bottom, right? I'll get to that later. And then sometimes some messages are not urgent, and I need to be out the door or taking, Bryce to school. So I will have to come back later to some messages. So I will go as fast as I can. I will type as fast as my little fingers will go. And I will do messages. Once I'm done with messages, I move to challenge groups. Then from there, I go to my email. And if that little message thing pops up, the notifications that somebody replied to a comment, I don't go back right away. I stick within the task that I'm focused on. And if I can get through it all, that's a bonus. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. If I get through it all, then I can go back and create other material. But it's really important as you're sitting there doing these tasks, are you asking yourself if this is a business building activity or is it time wasting? It's such an important question. Always ask yourself, is what I'm doing actually moving the needle forward? For me, personal development, it's audio. Because I don't do well when I sit down to read a book. I'm much better on audio. I can listen to that when I'm driving. I can listen to that when I'm cooking dinner. I actually now am in the habit of after I get out of the shower, I have my phone on the vanity and I will listen to my personal development podcast while I get dressed for the day. And that's a good, 20 minutes, half hour that I have to myself because nobody's awake in the house. That's when I can listen to my personal development. So you've got to find what works for you. But the one piece of advice, so has anybody read the book, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy? Yeah, it's a good book. Eat That Frog. Everybody has a frog. Mine was always inviting people to challenge groups, inviting people to the business opportunity. And every time I invited, and I would put it off for days and days and days. And when I would do it, I was like, why did I wait so long? That was the one thing that I actually got the most success from. And so I started saying to myself, I'm going to eat my frog first thing in the morning. So that I got into that habit, check into my challenge groups, answer my messages, invite. Before I do anything else, I will invite. And I would give myself my own little reward. If you invite 10 people, you get 10 extra minutes to Facebook scroll, right? I would give myself my own reward because to keep myself focused, because I'm naturally a squirrel. So I really had to work at that. That's really important for you guys to do that first because we always tend to go to the things that are easy. Like I like to write, so I tend to want to blog first, but I need to invite first. And I know I already mentioned this, but I just want to really just kind of make sure this sticks with you, that it's a race against the clock. It really is. And we don't all have a lot of time, but if you ever noticed that if you don't give yourself a deadline, you just find yourself sitting at the computer, just slowly answering messages, be quick about it. Be quick, move on to the next task. You get a lot more done when you're quick and you give yourself a deadline. And I'm to the point now where I can say it takes me 45 minutes to do this task, an hour to do this task, and I'm much better. All right, the 80-20 rule. So I've talked to you this whole time about your personal business. And the reason I spent the majority of the time on that is because it's important. And Bonnie said the same thing, right? She gave you that 70-30. 70% of your time should be spent on your team or on yourself, and then 20% on your team. And I feel the same way. The way I schedule my time still is Mondays and Wednesday mornings are my personal business time. First thing in the morning, my power hour is my personal business time. Before I get on the phone with coaches in the afternoon, I am working on me. I'm inviting, I'm following up, I'm creating content. Because if I'm not leading by example, I'm not in the trenches doing it, how am I going to teach them? And what happens if something happens and their life circumstance changes and somebody quits and I'm banking on them, right, to help grow my business? I can't do that. I have to control what I can control. And that means I have to continue to have that ratio of building my own personal business. Even at the level, even being a superstar 3, I still do that. I still spend my mornings on my personal business. And then I can teach my team what I'm doing too. So like I said, I choose Monday and Wednesday mornings. I use Acuity Scheduler. So, and that's up there, you can actually write that down. It's a free, I think it's free, but I use that, and you can go in and you can put new coach call, push to diamond, or leadership call, or power call, and I block out Mondays and Wednesday afternoons so that my coaches, and actually Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, that they can go in and schedule calls. So it's like they come to a business meeting prepared. It's a formal setup. They respect my time and our boundaries. They schedule a call, and we have a session together. And we're productive, and it helps them move their business forward. And I know that I'm meeting the needs of my team because I blocked out time for them too. So, what I want to leave you guys with, I feel like we could talk about this all day long, right? I really do. So the last thing I want to leave you guys with is choose 3 things from your list that you have, that master list I talked about. You know, when you do that planning session on Sundays, each day, just pick 3 things that you want to accomplish. Because when you try to list out 10 things that you want to do every single day, don't you just constantly feel defeated because you never get the list done? Really, realistically, we need 3 things. And me working by that, I take those 3 things and put them on a sticky note, and it works really well. The next thing I want to tell you, make sure the people that you love the most are a priority. There's a reason you do this business anyways. You want that freedom, you have to block out that time. It is so important to keep your personal and your business life separate. And then remember, focus on the end result. We're all a work in progress. I still, to this day, have to work at not being off balance. I get off balance too. I love my job, and I could work 24/7. But I'm working for freedom, and I have to remember, as much as I love my job, I love my family just as much too. So focus on the end result. You guys can do it. You all can manage your time. So thanks so much for having me here today. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.